All right, I hope everybody can hear me. And welcome to this very short demonstration. And this is going to be a high-level overview of what is being called the new QuickBooks experience on the Intuit platform. And that's kind of officially what I hear that they're calling this new overlay on the QuickBooks Online platform. And so that way you'll know is going to be a total change in how the platform looks and feels. But as you'll see, a lot of the stuff that we're already doing is actually not going to change a whole lot. It's just trying to figure out where to go to do certain things is going to change, and it might take a little bit for you to get used to that, but I'm hoping that this session will shorten the learning curve. And understand that you guys will not all have this experience right now, but as of a couple of days ago, all my clients ended up having this experience turned on all at the same time, even all of those who didn't have it turned on. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to spend about probably 10 or 12 or so minutes talking about the new QuickBooks Online experience within the Intuit platform. And then I'm going to segue into talking about some of the updates in the banking transactions. And I don't think I'm going to have time for any Q&A, but what I plan on doing is for those of you who could not make this recording that I'm going to go, or the session, I'm going to record this and probably upload this to my YouTube channel, and I will share the links to that. In fact, let me do that real quick. I'm going to share the links to that real quick in the chat. So that way, if you're not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can go ahead and do that. And that way you'll see it there. It'll be listed under the same name as this webinar is. So anyway, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So we are, as you can see, I'm in my Kathy bookkeeping test file right here. And what you'll see is kind of an interesting mix of different elements here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the left navigation first, and then we'll talk about some of the stuff that's on this, what they call the app carousel right here. So starting with the left navigation, this is what we call My Menu. And this menu actually has this little hamburger button that you can click on that, and that opens that up to what we see is our familiar left navigation for the most part. So you can go through here, you've got your bookmarks, and then you've got your create. And this is also where you find your, if you scroll down a little bit, you'll find your reclassify transactions, and all your accounting tools that used to be right up here are now in this section right here. So one of the questions that I had from somebody was like, I don't have my accounting tools anymore. What happened to them? Well, that's where they ended up going. So you will no longer see them right here. You'll have to open up that hamburger button, and then under the tools area, you'll be able to see those down here under my menu. So and then you can collapse this so you can see it. And I'm also going to minimize my thumbnail. In fact, I'll just go ahead and turn my video off because we don't really need it on. And that way it won't get in the way of everything here. So and you can't see me doing this, but I'm going to move the toolbar over so that way I can access some stuff in here when we get to it. So going down the list here, so that's my menu. Again, that's basically what we know as a left navigation with our accounting tools being right here. So now the quick create has changed. It's no longer that jelly bean shaped button. They've got it as a circle with a plus sign in it. And I think they're just going to call it create now. And this is where you see all the other tools that you're used to seeing with the create stuff. So that's where you go into and it's still organized under customers, vendors, team, and other, and that kind of thing. So that you'll see that. Bookmarks are over here. And these are the bookmarks. If you have bookmarks or were using bookmarks in your previous experience, then this is where those bookmarks are going to show up. And you can edit those how you used to edit those in the past. So say like if you wanted to add the dashboard or even wanted to add the reports in here, maybe take out your customers and vendors and add your dashboard here, here, let's do custom reports, because there's a whole section on reports that we're going to get to, and you can reorganize these as well if you wanted to. In fact, maybe you wanted to put your custom reports above client overview. And then you would have to save that, and then you can see when you go back into your bookmarks how it changed all that. And then you can also, if you're on a current page, like if you wanted to bookmark this page, you can bookmark this current page, and we're not going to do that right now. So, and then this area right here is the dashboard, and I encourage you, any of these things that look kind of crazy and that you think need to be somewhere else, go over here to the gear icon, click on that, click on feedback, and share your thoughts with them. Be very specific on what you would like to see as far as feedback, things that they need to be updated in this platform, because they are actively seeking that before they do the rollouts, okay? All right, but this dashboard button actually brings you back to this same page that we're in right now. So one of the features that the key things that I had suggested in my feedback to them is that this dashboard button should be either above or below this My Menu, because that brings you back to this main hub, and it kind of makes it weird having it in the middle right here. And that's just my thought on that. Okay, so now going down, this is what we call our feed, and that's kind of related to this business feed. And one of the things you're going to hear about, they're going to be talking about all these little sparkly things that are coming up in the new experience here, and that has to do with the AI that they're putting in. I'm going to click on that so you can see a little bit about what this is all about. Because when we're talking about this, there are certain actions that you're going to be able to do to use the Intuit Assist, and this is where you would actually go in and do that. I'm not going to do any demonstrations in this. Like I said, this is a high-level overview of what we're doing, so I'm not going to go into any of that, but this is where you would go if you wanted to start with generating a bill. You can upload your receipts here, and you can also generate invoices through this area. And as you start using this, it's going to provide you with some suggestions on things that it's going to try to do for you, where you can go in and either approve it or modify or whatever. So now I'm going to click on the dashboard button. You'll see it brings us right back to that main page there. And again, I think that should be up underneath or above the main menu here. So now what they also did is separated out this area of reports. So now when you look at this, you've got your standard reports, custom reports, management reports, performance center, and financial planning. So all those things are grouped under here, and under the financial planning, you've got your cash flow and your cash flow planner all under this reports area, which makes a lot of sense. And anything that's been bookmarked has got this little bookmark thing, and you can actually bookmark anything from here as well. You're just not going to be able to go back and rearrange everything unless you go back under the other bookmarks area. So, okay, and then this other section is what we call My Apps. And under this My Apps area, this is kind of a duplication of what we call the app carousel, which is at the top. And I'm going to go through each of those really quickly individually. Just know that everything that's above the line is stuff that you either have currently going on, or you can actually sign up for it with minimal issues and that kind of thing. But anything on the bottom is usually like a premium level type of app that you would have to go in and sign up for separately. But we'll talk about those things. And then we have these areas that are pinned. And if you click on this area that says more, this will show you the different ones. And then if you click on custom, this basically allows you to take all those, what we call our app menus, and you can move those around. But you only have 3 that you can show in that little area down there. But you can move these around once you've got them pinned, but you can't add anything other than 3 to this area. So, I mean, you may, if you wanted to, you can maybe remove this sales and get paid to maybe customer hub or something like that. Who knows? But then you can move that up. Say you want to move that up between above the accounting, and you can do that. And that affects both areas. That affects all the areas here. So anyway, that's how that works. So that anything done here affects this area. So, and then we have in our dashboard, we have these little widgets that you can go in and you can modify just like you could before, and you can customize your layout like you'd be able to do before. And we're not going to go through all this, but you can move these things around. You can delete ones. You can add different ones to it that are not here and all that kind of stuff to make this really your own. Also, here's some create actions under what they call the business feed area. And again, you see these little sparklies. As you start using this, this is going to actually give you some input into various actions that the assist has done for you. You can either look at it and approve it or go back and modify it and that kind of thing. And then if you wanted to view all of that, you can click on this. That will open that same area, that business feed area that we talked about before. Click on the dashboard here, and that gets us back to where we are. So the areas up here, these are what we're calling apps now, and that's one of the reasons why they're saying that QBO is part of the Intuit platform. So what Intuit is trying to do is they're trying to make sure that everything that Intuit provides is in the same area. Where it used to be that they would try to bring everything into QuickBooks Online, but now what they're trying to do is integrate QuickBooks Online into this Intuit platform. So that's kind of what they're doing. So when you click on the accounting area, this brings us to where we have the client overview and setup and all of that. But if you open up this area right here, then it actually goes into this My Apps area as the menu, and you have these items that you can still go in do as far as your QuickBooks and all that stuff, your expenses and bills and everything related to that. And then you can close that up, and then again, you can go back to the dashboard here, or you can, now that you're in that area, you can go to, but it's just probably easier to go back to the dashboard. So now all these areas here, like the customer area, goes into the customer hub where you can see some insights based on what you're doing and all of that. It gives you ample opportunity to provide feedback on these areas. And this is something else I want to show you too. If you click on this right here, this actually lets you go into what they call their full screen mode, where you can go in there, and that gets rid of the left navigation. You can click on this to bring that back, which is pretty simple. I really like that. The only other problems that I have is you're wanting to open up other tabs and have multiple tabs open up at the same time. Then you're going to have the same issue that you have unless you use some kind of thing such a right tool, which is I use. You're going to have to do the duplicate click on with the left mouse, with the right mouse button or whatever. However you do the duplication, you have to, I think it's right click on the tab here, and then do duplicate to bring up different tabs, have more tab open at once, which is why I like right tool. Even the free version of right tool will allow you to do that. Anyway, we're running a little over time here, so I'm going to go back. And so all these areas are accessible, like I said, from this once you're in this My Apps area, you can scroll through here and open up the different areas from here. And like you've got your sales, your team, if you have employees and all that, you can access those from here. You got your sales tax. If you got that turned on, you've got that business tax. This is if you, and I really like this area. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the overview screen, because what I like about this is that it gives you some ideas. If you got everything caught up, it tells you what your taxable profit estimate to date is based on your income and deductions and all of that. It also gives you your federal tax deadlines, and you can actually also add your state deadlines as you need to. And since I'm in Florida, we don't have any state deadlines or anything like that, so that's not applicable to me. If you're using any kind of, going back to the menu here, going back to lending, this is where you can actually look at applying for the lines of credit and all that, and all that kind of thing in QuickBooks Checking, if you got that activated. And then, like I said, these are your items that are premium. So if you want to sign up for those, these options give you the opportunity to sign up for those within the product here. Same thing for time, and then the inventory will not be available in this. And then I have it, and I must say I have simple start in here, so it's not going to show anything here. You would have to actually upgrade to do that. Let's go back to our dashboard. And again, like I said, all this stuff that's in this area right here, the My Apps area is duplicated over in here. So it's just more than one place to get to the same area. And you can, like I said, you can go down here and rearrange those and show the ones in the order in which you want. And I accidentally clicked on Customer Hub Overview. I didn't mean to do that, but it's easy to get back to the dashboard by just going to the dashboard button and going there. So that's about all the time that I have to go over the stuff in the QuickBooks Online as part of the Intuit platform. They're supposed to be rolling this out to everyone as of the end of September now. It got pushed back from September the 1st to at the end of September. Everybody will be required, and it will no longer be an option. But a lot of people are getting this rolled out to their clients. If you're working with multiple clients, you may see this turned on in all your client records. And that happened to me a couple of days ago. I went in there and all my clients have it now. And I'll tell you, they've been asking all kinds of questions about it. So hopefully I'll have a chance to provide some deep dive trainings, and that's something I can talk about at the end of this video. But right now, and if you're watching from Canada, then understand that they're going to get this rolled out to them too, but the timelines are going to be a little bit different. I think their dates are like a couple of months or 2 to 3 months behind us in implementation. But they'll be getting this too, but in the US, we'll be getting it all by the end of September is what they're telling us. So let's go ahead and switch gears. I'm going to go over to the bank transactions window because this is the other thing I wanted to talk about. And here's that little full screen window again. So I'm going to go ahead and press that because we don't need to see anything else right now, because I want to focus on the updates for the bank transactions screen. And it's going to look a little different, but it actually has a lot of the same things and a few things added on. So let's just start by talking about the first thing that you'll notice is that some of the terminology has changed. So it used to be that the for review is now called pending. And that's more aligned with what we know as far as what the accounting tools are, or the accounting terminology is, and the accounting and the way the accounting works. So when something's pending, it means it's not in your books. So that kind of aligns with that terminology. In other words, it's just sitting there and it's not affecting your records in any sort of way until you do something with it. So all those that are in pending are things that have come through the bank feed or the bank transactions area, and they are just not, they're waiting for you to do something with it. Okay. What I like about this now is that you used to have to click through a transaction in order to add an account or a transaction type or something like that, or a pay. Now you don't have to do that. I'm going to go ahead and close this back up so you can see. You can actually select the payee by clicking on this. And then also we have these little sparkly things. This is something that gets suggested. This is where this AI stuff comes in. And it suggests these type of things and based on past history and past uses. And it's going to get better at it as you go through. So, and if you open up this transaction here, it's going to give you a little bit more insight than before as to why their top suggestion is what it is. And then they'll even go back through some of the history here so that you can see history and relevant categories and things like that for that. So, and it also gives you an example of what this vendor is. So, you know, I'm going to go ahead and before I accept this, I want to show you something else too. I'm going to go ahead and click, and you still have to have a payee listed in the from to area. And that's another change. It's not called payee anymore. It's called from to. So remember when you see that, that's where the pay area is. So this is where your categorization history is now. And so when you click on this, it has changed. It used to be that it would go back to just 12 months, and this is probably not a good record. Oh, actually it is, because look, it was saying it was last used on 3/6/2024. The look back period for that is been extended from 12 months to 24 months, and which is something that I know Alicia Katz Pollock has been very adamant and vocal about, and so have some of us, because when you have annual subscriptions, it's hard to know what those were previously categorized as, and it took a lot of time trying to find where those categories are, unless you set up a rule or something. So this has been a big improvement. And I'm going to go ahead and click on assign category, and I'm going to go ahead and click on post, and that's going to move that into the posted area. So the area that used to be called, yeah, and then it gives you as you first start using this, it'll give you these little tips and tools and everything. And then you can also see where the split create and categorization and all that is now. So we put that in the posted area. So what used to be as categorized is now called posted. And of course, excluded is still called excluded. But here's a new thing, and I want to talk about this really quick. Whenever you want to link an account, or if you're working with a account that has been stopped or something like that, or whatever, or want to start a new account, when you click on upload from file, and this is something that is, I understand, is still work in progress. You used to only be able to upload a CSV or a QBO or some kind of Excel spreadsheet, but now they have changed this where you can actually upload a PDF, and the bank transactions will be able to be extracted from a PDF now. So you don't need to download a separate or convert into a separate spreadsheet and all that. From what I understand, this is the first reiteration of this, or first iteration of this. So it's taking a while for it to extract the transactions that need to come out of it. But from what I understand, as it gets used more and more, it's going to be much quicker at doing these tasks and everything. And so it should theoretically replace some of the apps that we're already using to extract data from PDFs and things like that. And that's something exciting that I can't wait to try out. I haven't tried it out yet. But as you can see, if you want to try to match something, you can actually click on this where it says match, and it will open up the area where you can find other matches. And since there's no matches found, I'm just going to click on that X and go back. So we can actually, if we don't see any matches, we can go back to categorize. So that's kind of like a slider, but it also enables you to pair payments, just like, and let's click through on this so you can see, because it's showing up as a credit card payment in here. And then this is going to pair with another like credit card payment on the other end. So I'm going to go ahead and click on post. And again, you can see the paired transaction that it's trying to pair to, which is the same one. And I'm going to go ahead and click on post on that. And that's a relatively new one. And the other thing I want to say too is that you have to be aware of when you're working with this, because I've already seen this happen with some of the other clients that I've been working with who have tried out this new banking experience here. And let me go ahead and go back and click on this full screen. I thought that I had that on. Maybe when you come back, it turns it off. I don't know. That might be something else to provide feedback on. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. So if you have any things that are being transferred, like in and out and that kind of thing, like I had a few transfers in and out from checking here. Okay, and we don't know if they're going to show up as transfers or not. But one of the things they were talking about is that you need to click through the transaction and see if the transaction type is indeed a transfer. And a lot of people say you shouldn't use transfers, yada yada. But if it's true transfer, I like using a true transfer transaction because it just makes it so much more clean. But if it's not working, if it's trying to make it into an expense transaction type, then it might be worth it to go in there and tag it as a transfer. So that way we have this pairing that we see here. And I'm going to go ahead and post that because I know that this is paired to this particular transaction. So I'm going to go ahead and click on post on that. So that's something to be aware of as you're working with this. So anyway, the last thing I want to talk about here is that you can actually go in here and click on this icon here. And it still allows you to show the different transactions and show amounts and spend and all that, and take out columns, put in columns and stuff like that. And you can still do the page size and all that. But a lot of times if you say like if we took out the check number column, I'm going to go ahead and just remove it real quick. Check number column. And then you won't see it in here. And then of course we've got it looks the attachment button has been moved to kind of the middle. But if you click on all this right here, you'll still be able to see some of those tools here in this area. So, I mean, that's just some of the things that you can look for. And again, we've got these little sparkle, and the sparkle is going to tell you what the potential, what we call the potential vendor is. And you just have to be really careful as you're going through there. But again, it's going to learn as you use, right? So, you can't necessarily just select the exact ones that you're going to be. So, and then it says, this one is to this vendor named Velarde. And so this person, and a lot of it is based on the full bank description and all that. And again, you can turn all that stuff on as you could before. All right. And I think, as far as I can tell, I think I've hit on most of the highlights. Now it's going to behoove you to go in there and play with this yourself. They do not have the sample files upgraded with this. And that's something else that I think I'll do while I'm in here. I'm going to take this off and I'm going to put a note in here. And this is how you give your feedback. You can click on the feedback button here. And I'm just going to put a note saying, please, and if more of you do this, they'll do this. Please provide a sample file version of these new changes, so we can teach our clients about the new interfaces for QBO in the Intuit platform and banking transactions. Thanks. And of course, I can't type very well, so I'm going to use this to correct my spelling. Click on next. And from what I understand, Alicia Katz-Pollock says that Intuit is looking at these comments and they are taking these to heart. So this is your chance now to play around with it, make any suggestions that you want, tell them what you like about this stuff, what you don't like about it. And that way, by the time they roll this out in late September, hopefully they get all the kinks worked out and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's basically all I have. And so, like I said, I'm going to, again, and I put in the chat that link that we're going to, and I guess I'll put it in the comments as well on the video and in the description of the video when I upload it, which I don't know what it'll be. It might be in the next couple of days or whatever. So anyway, I hope y'all found this session helpful, and take care, everybody. And wait, one other thing I want to do is, if you're interested in possibly meeting with me, this would be a good way to get in touch with me. So I do offer a 40-minute free consult. I also offer a paid 30-minute one. So I'll put those links in here as well in case you have any interest in some paid time with me. But if you think you might be interested in, or if you know anybody that might be interested in some of the ongoing trainings that I do, and I mostly focus on individualized or small groups training, then reach out to me. I would love to see if we're a good fit to work together. So anyway, I hope you guys and gals have a wonderful day. We will see you very soon. Take care, everybody.